following is a special presentation of the World Baseball Classic. Baseball fans around the world and all the ships at sea, we are back in San Francisco, the home of the big Orlando Cepeda and the young, hopeful Orlando Cepeda. It has been a rock and roll World Baseball Classic, and the sense of the Caribbean spice is on end for this one. This is Game 39 of the World Baseball Classic 2013, and this one is for the championship as Puerto Rico takes on the Dominican Republic. Hi, everybody. Gary Thorne along with Rick Sutcliffe. It is game number 39. These two teams have already met twice. The Dominican has won both of them.
Well, the World Baseball Classic has simply been amazing this year. All that we need right now is a champion. We're going to have it shortly.
And you better believe that the Dominican Republic wants this badly. They have not lost here. They come in with a perfect record. They're trying to sweep the table.
Well, they have beaten the Puerto Rican team a couple of times, but neither one of those games mattered. Both teams were going to move on. This one matters.
No question of where the talent is. It lies with the Dominican Republic. Not that Puerto Rico doesn't have some, but this Dominican team's loaded.
Well, the closest thing this tournament has had to a complete team is the Dominican Republic team, but anything can happen in one game.
All right, we'll see what goes on in this one, and some great pregame ceremonies are going to be coming up for you on the field with some names that you will recognize and some great color to add to our World Baseball Classic coverage.
John Califra, the World Baseball Classic Symphony Orchestra.
I'm just going to get this done. I'm going to move this
Y primero, Puerto Rico.
¿Cómo? Ajá. Sí. Otro. Tiene montuno. Tiene montuno. Tiene montuno. Borinquen tiene montuno. Oye, yo borinquen yo le canto. Oye, mi borinquen yo le canto. Orgulloso yo me siento. Porque seguimos logrando. Porque si tiene montuno. Oye, boricua, oye, diga huepa, porque aquí le estamos cantando. Orgulloso yo me siento de ser boriqueño 100%. Oye, si tiene, porque si tiene montuno.
And now, the Dominican Republic.
Y ahora, República Dominicana. Dominicana se viste de campeón. Dominicana se viste de campeón.
And now let's welcome
Dominicana se viste de campeón. Dominicana se viste de campeón. Y vamos a ganar, somos lo mejor. Esta niña verde, hay celebración. Dominicana se viste de campeón. Dominicana se viste de campeón. Jonrón de Tejeda, jonrón de Víctor y jonrón de Mesa se quedan campeón. Dominicana se viste
And now
de
let's welcome the two teams in this year's World Baseball Classic Championship game. And now let's meet the starters. First, for the visiting team, Puerto Rico.
Y ahora, los titulares para el juego de hoy. Primero, el equipo visitante, Puerto Rico.
First, the manager of Team Puerto Rico, Edwin Rodriguez.
El manager de Puerto Rico, Edwin Rodríguez.
Leading off, center fielder, number 16, Angel Pagan.
Bateando primero y jugando en el jardín central, número 16, Ángel Pagán.
Batting second, second baseman, number 19, Irving Falú.
Bateando segundo y jugando en la segunda base, número 19, Irving Falú.
Batting third, designated hitter, number 15, Carlos Beltran.
Bateando tercero, el bateador designado, número 15, Carlos Beltrán.
Batting cleanup, the catcher, number 4, Yadier Molina.
El cuarto bate, el receptor número 4, Yadier Molina.
Batting fifth, at shortstop, number 14, Mike Aviles.
El quinto bate, en el campo corto, número 14, Mike Avilés.
Batting sixth, in right field, number 51, Alexis Rios.
Bateando sexto, en el jardín derecho, número 51, Alexis Ríos.
Batting seventh, first baseman, number 44, Carlos Rivera.
Bateando séptimo, en la primera base, número 44, Carlos Rivera.
Batting eighth, at third base, number 26, Angel Gonzalez.
Bateando octavo, en la tercera base, número 26, Ángel González.
Batting ninth, in left field, number 13, Jesus Feliciano.
Bateando noveno, en el jardín izquierdo, número 13, Jesús Feliciano.
And tonight's starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, number 31, Giancarlo Alvarado.
El lanzador de esta noche y calentando en el bullpen, número 31, Giancarlo Alvarado.
And now, for tonight's home team, the Dominican Republic.
Y ahora, para el equipo de casa, República Dominicana.
And first, the manager of the Dominican Republic, Tony
el manager de República Dominicana, Tony Peña.
And leading off, shortstop, number 7, Jose Reyes.
Bateando primero, el campo corto, número 7, José Reyes.
Batting second, designated hitter, number 2, Eric Ibar.
Bateando segundo, el bateador designado, número 2, Eric Ibar.
Batting third, at second base, number 24, Robinson Cano.
Bateando tercero, en la segunda base, número 24, Robinson Cano.
Batting cleanup, first baseman, number 10, Edwin Encarnacion.
Bateando cuarto, en la primera base, número 10, Edwin Encarnación.
Batting fifth, third baseman, number 13, Henley Ramirez.
Bateando quinto, en la tercera base, número 13, Henley Ramírez.
Batting sixth, in right field, number 17, Nelson Cruz.
Bateando sexto, en el jardín derecho, número 17, Nelson Cruz.
Batting seventh, the catcher, number 41, Carlos Santana.
Bateando séptimo, el receptor, número 41, Carlos Santana.
Batting eighth, left fielder, number 14, Moises Sierra.
Bateando octavo, en el jardín izquierdo, número 14, Moisés Sierra.
Batting ninth, center fielder, number 30, Alejandro de Aza.
Bateando noveno, en el jardín central, número 30, Alejandro de Aza.
And tonight's starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen, number 21, Samuel De Duno.
Y el lanzador de esta noche, calentando en el bullpen, número 21, Samuel De Duno.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps for the national anthems of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, followed by the anthem for host nation, the United States of America. And first, the national anthem for Puerto Rico.
Ahora escuchemos el himno nacional de Puerto Rico.
And now, the national anthem for the Dominican Republic.
Y ahora el himno nacional de República Dominicana.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Star-Spangled Banner.
Y ahora el himno nacional de los Estados Unidos.
I think that's why the word bravo was put into the dictionary. Members of the Symphony Orchestra from San Francisco. Coming up next, the championship game of the 2013 World Baseball Classic. Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. First pitch in a minute. As the 2013 World Baseball Classic comes to a close, we have witnessed some of the most unlikely baseball stories, from countries showing their baseball might to those going down in surprising failure. But like any great book, tonight the final chapter is about to be written as the teams from Puerto Rico and the Dominican are looking for that storybook ending. From the first pitch of the tournament, the team from the Dominican Republic has looked loose and eager to prove they wouldn't be going home early or empty-handed, with the weight of not only their baseball-crazed country, but that of Dominican expats around the world. Tony Pena now has his star-laden team one win away from forever erasing the embarrassment of their past failures. Team Puerto Rico's unexpected trip to the finals was fueled by the performances of MLB World Series veterans and a proud contingent of diehard fans who made sure they'd be both seen and heard. For Puerto Rico, a return to the island as champions could be the spark that ignites baseball fires that burned so brightly during the time of Roberto Clemente. Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic take aim on the WBC trophy next. And we welcome you back to San Francisco as the fireboat putting a little water up in McCovey Cove just outside the ballpark, and a great look in as we get set for this game tonight. This is it. This is for the championship 2013 World Baseball Classic, and all of the Caribbean flavor involved in this one, with Puerto Rico taking on the Dominican Republic. Gary Thorne, Rick Sutcliffe, great to have all of you with us.
Well, we know that the Dominican Republic is a perfect 7-0 as they come into the championship game. But we also know that Puerto Rico, in their last 3 elimination games, has sent home Italy, sent home the United States, and just recently sent home Japan. They're trying to do it one more time.
And it would be an upset, because the Dominican clearly is going to be the heavily favored team. For Team Puerto Rico, here's how they got here.
Well, for me, it all starts and ends with Yadier Molina. He has dominated the World Baseball Classic, not only behind the plate, but beside it. Really kind of the unsung hero has been Aviles with 9 RBIs in 8 games. Puerto Rico's on the 7th inning against Japan. He also followed it up with a base hit in the 8th inning, so he might be getting hot. and then that baseball just tends to find Pagan. It has come down into his glove the last 2 elimination games. USA and Japan, it needs to find his glove a lot tonight.
So for Puerto Rico in the first round, they went 2-1, allowing 7 runs. The second round, a 2-2 record. Starter ERA at 2.75 got them through it. And the semifinal, the big upset over Japan, 3-1. Alex Rios with that 2-run homer. They have been able to pitch their way through. The big names for them have been Pagan at the top of the order with that 367 average, 11 hits. Molina behind the plate and at it, the 304 average. He's thrown out 3 of 4. You just cannot run on him. And Mike Aviles, the understated story, with that 333 average and the 9 RBIs. Over a third of the runs that have crossed the plate have come because of his work.
Well, they haven't dominated anybody. They've done just enough to win, and it's ironic. They're playing in the championship game. They have scored 23 runs, but they've allowed their opponents to score the same number, just enough to win.
For the Dominican Republic, they come in undefeated, 7-0. There's their leader.
Well, and the number 1 reason is Robinson Cano. Gary, it seems like every night he sets another World Baseball Classic record. He's done it with the number of hits. He's done it with the number of total bases. And there's the igniter. He's the one that turns on the lights, is what Tony Pena said in Jose Reyes. Well, if he turns on the lights, this is the guy that turns them off. Fernando Rodney with 6 saves. They've only got 7 wins in this tournament, and who knows where that arrow lands. It might be headed to the Dominican Republic with the championship trophy on it.
No team has ever gone undefeated in the tournament. The first round, 3-0. They outscored opponents 19-8. The second round, 3-0 again, allowing only 1 run in the last 26 innings. And then in the semifinal here, it wasn't easy against the team the Dominican was heavily favored against, but they won against the Netherlands 4-1 with the 4 runs in the 5th inning. There are the big numbers for them. Cano's been the MVP of the first 2 pools, maybe the MVP of the entire World Baseball Classic, depending on tonight, but look at the average, 517. Reyes hitting at 290, top of the order at table center, evidenced by the fact he has scored 6 runs, and Rodney has pitched in all 7 games, allowing no runs and picking up the save opportunity in every chance that he's had. As in all baseball games, vital your starting pitching.
Well, we've got a lot of big names in this ball game tonight. We've got MVPs, we've got all-stars. Not so much as far as the starting pitchers are concerned. This is going to be a huge key right here. But both of them have pitched extremely well. And the number that jumps out at me is the lack of walks. They need to put the ball in play, use the terrific defenses that they have, and use this huge ballpark to their advantage.
Giancarlo Alvarado's become kind of their unsung star. He's a 35-year-old veteran with not a lot of major league experience. And for Edwin Rodriguez's team, this is a tremendous opportunity. Their entire country is following their actions now, and as each game has gone along and they've progressed, the country of Puerto Rico has been there on the island to watch them play. And the memory, of course, of Clemente gets raised every time they're playing baseball.
You know what, Gary, before this thing started, I asked Alfonso Soriano of the Chicago Cubs, what does this mean? What is this ball game between the Dominican and Puerto Rico? What does it mean? He said, you know what, the players love each other, but for the fans, this is like the Yankees and the Red Sox, and he would know that as well. Well, I tell you what, for 9 innings, it's going to be like that on the field between these players.
We remind you again that these 2 teams' long history of competition goes back to the Caribbean World Series that started in 1948 when it was first set up. The championship teams from the different countries in the Caribbean play in a World Series which is very meaningful to them. And these 2 countries have won more. 35-year-old right-hander on the mound, ready to go, and he will face Reyes leading it off, the switch hitter. Here's Jose Reyes, and he will take the pitch outside for a ball. Reyes hitting 290. Drove Cano and Reyes home for the 2-0 lead. Edwin Rodriguez, the manager for Puerto Rico, talking about the ball game. I want to remind you to go to worldbaseballclassic.com, bookmark it, your #1 stop for news, video highlights, online shopping, authentic jerseys, caps, collectibles, and more. You can go 24/7 and gear up. Got the perfect sweatshirt on there. It's swim, bike, run. And the umbrella. In between innings, a little work done here.
Yeah, and as he should, being the crew chief, Ted Barrett going out with the head ground crew keeper. Wanted to take a look at the pitcher's mound, decided there was nothing wrong there. But Ted Barrett knew that home plate was starting to get a little bit soggy, so they came down to where Ted Barrett does his good work. And they put the quick dry down there to make sure that there's no problem. Just buying them, you know, hopefully a couple of more innings to be able to continue this game.
And Barrett's brush not working very well on home plate, so he's had to go to his feet.
You know, another thing,
dirt sticking.
I see that, but look at that. They've knocked the back of the batter's box out on both the left and right-handed side. I mean, if I'm a hitter right now, I get as deep as I possibly can.
Rios trying to do just that. It's one of the strikeout victims. Rios, Rivera, Gonzalez due up. 6, 7, 8 in the order.
Got to be some concern right now for Tony Pena, because after Doduno threw that first pitch, not even close to the strike zone, he looked down at where his left foot landed, almost as if to say, wait a minute.
Just did it again, Rick.
I don't feel comfortable with this. This is not the way it's been. And I think right now, I mean, if I'm Doduno, if I'm Tony Pena, I go out there and do something right now, because he does not feel confident where that front foot's coming down.
3-0, and he looked at it again. All three pitches he's looked down. Now, the number one concern for Major League Baseball as you get to this point, Rick, is the potential for injury.
Oh, yeah.
Which you can't have. And that's where the line is right now. When is there so much rain in the field in such a condition that it poses a hazard to the players? And it does pose a hazard to pitchers, as Rick knows all too well. You start sliding around out there in a groin or an ankle.
Or a shoulder.
Yeah. 3-1 delivery on the way, and he can't get it in there. And at every pitch, he looked down where he was landing, and here they come. Home plate umpire Ted Barrett and the second base umpire Bill Miller both signaled that they got to do something out there on the mound. So the grounds crew is going to be brought out here, I think, to try and work on the mound that Miller's asked for them. The second base umpire, home plate umpire Ted Barrett, got the towel to try and clean off the plate.
Well, Doduno is going back behind the mound trying to clean his spikes off with the thing that they put in there. Look at how his front foot's sliding. As soon as it goes down, it slips out from underneath him. He is not, once he gets on the mound and he steps back, that's when all of a sudden his left cleat starts to get filled up with mud. And then when he puts it down on the ground, there's not enough cleat there to dig in to where he does not slide. You've got to bring the ground crew out right now and get that fixed. This is the tie and run at home plate.
Bill Miller has tried to do that. He's still looking over there in the dugout on the third base side, the second base umpire, but they're going to let it go. And they will pitch to Carlos Rivera with a runner at first base, and that's going to be outside for a ball. Now, Doduno can stop this anytime he wants. If he says, I can't pitch under these conditions, then something will have to be done. But he's continuing to throw the baseball.
If I'm the pitching coach, Bill Castro, for the Dominican Republic, I'd do something about this.
Bill Castro right there on the right. That pitch is in there for a strike and a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Rivera, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Leadoff walk. It's going to be the third time in 5 innings Puerto Rico's gotten the leadoff man on base. Here you see the numbers for Rivera, Mexican and Independent League combined, way outside.
Tell you what, though, with the exception of Pagan in that very first at bat, there's not been one hard hit ball off of Doduno.
They haven't been able to do anything. They get anybody on base, they're gone 0 for 7.
I mean, every time he throws a pitch, you can tell that he's concerned about his cleats.
2-1, runner at first, Rios. Inside and gets away. Runner will go down, and Doduno looked over to the dugout. Instead of looking to where the ball had went, he's looking at the dugout like, somebody help me out here.
Well, finally, Robinson Cano is coming in to do something. He's not going to throw another pitch. They're going to come out there and give him some help, which they should have done before he threw the second pitch to Alex Rios. This is hard for me to believe. They got to get 3 outs now. There you go. This should have happened a long time ago. You know what happens, Gary? You get a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of experience. DeDuno's pitching the biggest game of his life. He doesn't want to say anything. He doesn't want to cause a problem. He doesn't know what to do. Well, this is where Tony Pena, Bill Castro should have done something. It wasn't until Robinson Cano came in that anything was done.
So they'll put some more of that drying agent out there. Also get some bullpen action. The veteran Dotel is going down to warm up.
You know, you might say, well, why didn't he notice that when he was throwing his warm-up pitches? Well, there's a difference there. Your warm-up pitches are only thrown at 50 to sometimes 70% effort. So your stride's not as long. You're not throwing that front foot down into the ground to get the support that you need. All of a sudden, he threw the first pitch of this inning. He got a little bit longer. The foot come down a little bit harder, and it gave out on him. That's when he lost his confidence in his delivery.
He's going to try it out here. DeDuno will.
He slipped again. It's not ready. They have got to pound it down. The soft stuff that they put on top of there, the quick dry, let it soak up some of the moisture, but then beat it back down into the ground.
See, I've got to say, Rick, one of the things MLB's got to do right here, look, you want this classic to matter, you want people to take it seriously, then you got to play the game seriously, especially the championship game. You can't just be rushing this thing through for the sake of getting it done because the GM want their players back. You got to play this game. And right now, they're in danger of not doing that and just rushing to get 5 1/3 innings or 4.5 innings done here to make it official.
Gary, you have never been more right. There is no way that weather should have any kind of an impact on who the World Baseball Classic champion of 2013 is.
So DeDuno hopefully will have a mound he can throw off here. Puerto Rico's on the verge of being right back in this thing. They've been able to get the leadoff man on Rios. He goes to second on the wild pitch, so that takes away the double play. And now the RBI opportunity to Rivera, who's ahead on the count 3-1.
There'll never be a situation where Rivera swings any harder than he does here if he gets a pitch that he likes.
3-1 delivery. He got one he liked. He drives it in the air to right. The wind's going to hold that ball up. Runner tags, but no footing, and will hold, and a real good throw in made by Cruz. So Rivera retired, one away.
I tell you what, not only was it a real good throw from Nelson Cruz, but it was a real good pitch. Look at the location on that fastball, down and away. Rivera with the big swing. He knew that he represented the tying run, but DeDuno once again coming up with a terrific pitch.
And as we said, no guarantee it was going to continue to rain. It's letting up. Fans are moving back down. They'd all moved up under cover. It's still raining, but not as hard as it was. Here is Andy Gonzalez. Gonzalez with one away. He'll take the pitch on the inside corner for a strike. The infield showing the effect of the rain. We're actually seeing it starting to mud and puddle up a little bit now. You can see it. So that'll make the going treacherous out there.
And that's exactly what was happening on the mound.
Yep. Andy Gonzalez, 0-1 count. And a good pitch. DeDuno finding that strike zone, really concentrating here, and the count goes to 0-2.
You know, most of the time as a pitcher, your back foot is in the air as you release the pitch. The only thing that you have on the ground is that front foot. It's kind of like a boat. The only thing that's in the water when it's going fast is the rudder. That front foot is everything as far as your command is concerned. He's finally gotten it back.
Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way, and that ball's put up in the air to left center field. Hit pretty good. Diaz is going back. Makes the catch. Runner halfway will have to go back, and no easy play under any circumstances, much less with the rain coming down.
I had Diaz playing fairly shallow right there. Had to go a long ways, had to take a terrific route. As you said, had to battle the elements. Not only his footing possibly a little bit slippery, but his vision a little bit impaired. Boy, just fully extended to come down with that to keep Puerto Rico from scoring. If that ball gets over his head, it's probably a triple.
2 down. Pitch will miss inside. Chances for Puerto Rico continue to go by the boards here. Here's Jesus Feliciano. Runner at second, stranded, first inning, third inning. They got a runner to second, one out, couldn't score. Leadoff man on in the fourth, double play, took that runner off. Here they've had a walk, runner second. Can't get him moved around.
Look at where he's at. He's on the right side of second base, fairly shallow. That was an 0-2 pitch. You don't look for it to be hit with authority, but it was, making the play even that much more remarkable.
Breaking ball will miss. Feliciano single his first time up. Pagan waiting on deck. You see 0 for 9 with runners on bases tonight. And you got Pagan top of the order on deck. So one thing DeDuno does not want to do here is turn this order over. Buries that pitch down and in. 2-2.
Well, another thing too you see is that Hanley Ramirez has been playing a lot deeper than what he was earlier when Feliciano got the base hit, and he actually jammed his thumb trying to make the diving play. He's still worried about that thumb. I would imagine the Dodgers are too.
Yeah. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Off second base, Rios. 2-2 delivery on the way and chopped it foul. Boy, credit to DeDuno. Under tough circumstances, after giving up a leadoff walk, he's found a way to find the strike zone.
Gary, I tell you who else I give a lot of credit to, and that's Robinson Cano. If he doesn't come in there, there's no telling. DeDuno might have continued to walk the world and put Puerto Rico back into this ball game. Cano stopped every bit of that by coming to the mound.
2-2 delivery on the way outside. That just slipped. Interesting story, New York Times today about Robinson Cano. As they said, Pena may speak, but Robinson Cano always has something left to say. Moises Salou, who is the GM of this ball club, and Cano responded to that saying, I think that's my responsibility. I'm going to help my teammates. I'm not going to hesitate. They said, well, why don't you do that in New York? He said, well, and I'm quoting, you got GD, you got all those guys. I'm still learning from those guys. I'm the kind of guy I don't like to talk too much, because when you talk too much, nobody's going to listen to you. And he's just quiet around the Yankees. But here on this club, he is the leader, and he's taken that role and run with it.
Well, he even took the blame back in 09, saying that it was his responsibility. It was his fault that they didn't advance past the first round. I don't believe that to be true, but credit has to go to him for standing up.
Yep. You see the rain. 3-2 count, 2 away. Big pitch. And he walked him. So the third walk surrendered by DeDuno, 2 in this inning, and it will turn the order over. And here's a big moment in this classic, in this championship game, with Pagan coming up. The leader at the top of the order for Puerto Rico, a single, and he's grounded out.
So many terrific numbers for Pagan a year ago. Hit just under 290. Had over 50 RBIs. And where a lot of those come from were in situations just like this, with runners in scoring position. He hit almost 300 in spots like this.
And that will bring Tony Pena out to the mound. You see Tony, he's shaking his finger at the home plate umpire. What's happening here? The Major League Baseball talked to both of these teams, and they were told, you got to hustle this game, you got to move it along, it's going to rain, we got to get official. And Tony right there is just saying, no, we're going to play this game. I know I'm not supposed to come out here, I know I'm not supposed to slow this down, but we're going to play this game the way it's supposed to be played. And to his credit, he makes the visit to the mound.
I think part of that too, that he was telling Ted Barrett that I'm not going to make a change.
Yep. Now Barrett will come out to break it up.
Kind of interesting though that Tony would be the guy that comes out there. He's struggling with his command. He just gave up another walk. You know, you would think it might be the pitching coach that comes out there to try to help DeDuno get this final out.
Runners on at first and second, the Dominican leading. Rios at second base, a walk. Feliciano at first base, a walk. Dominican got 2 in the first inning, 2 RBI double by Encarnacion. Now the fans from Puerto Rico making some noise. Pagan will take the pitch for a ball.
Well, it's obvious that Tony Pena also told DeDuno, you got to be careful with this guy. There's not near the thunder in the on-deck circle in Irving Falou. And what being careful means is that every pitch has to be with the mindset that the count is 0-2.
1-0 delivery, that's up high.
You can see he's trying to paint the corner, even though he was behind in the count.
Pagan here in his home ballpark, a .267 hitter. He has had 2 home runs here at AT&T Park. Right now, it's not the home run would be great as far as he's concerned, but it's that extra base hit. With 2 down, you got the advantage of the runners going. And an extra base hit here could tie this ball game up. 2-0 count. And that is a strike on the outside corner. DeDuno not giving in and finding the outside part of the plate.
Well, and one thing that you're always going to see with a home plate umpire that has a bigger than normal zone is the complaining is always going to come from the hitters. Pagan, once again, as he was in the last at bat, not happy with that called strike.
Puerto Rico trying to get one up, at least one here in the 5th inning, and Pagan will back out.
You know, Gary, there might be people, particularly fans of Puerto Rico, saying, well, it wasn't a strike. You know what? For a lot of umpires, that last pitch wasn't a strike, but tonight it is. And as a hitter, you have to make the adjustment because usually the home plate umpire will not. 2-1.
Pagan waiting. He'll chop it off. That's a good pitch by DeDuno again as he kept it down low. 2-2.
Yeah, this is a straight changeup here. The fastball count, being able to use a secondary pitch to make the fastball that much better. For me right now, you forget about the weakness of the hitter. And as a pitcher, you think about your strength. His strength has been that good curveball down at the knees or even below that.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Pagan goes down swinging, and DeDuno gives it the 360. A big out, and Pagan hollering out at DeDuno and looking at him for celebrating after the strikeout. DeDuno's got 5 Ks, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 are left on base. And if you don't think they're intense, take a look at this.
I'm sure for a lot of reasons Pagan was upset. He had an opportunity to put something on the board, to possibly drive in a run, maybe tie the ball game up. But then it was really compounded when all of a sudden you can see the 360. You can see the emotion there from DeDuno. During the course of a major league game, during the regular season, you never see anything like that. To me, that would be disrespectful. It would be obviously something that was retaliated for. But in this World Baseball Classic, that passion, the emotion has been everywhere. And to me, it's just become part of this tournament.
It's been much written about, especially from the Dominican team, which has been more than willing to have that kind of emotion shown in all parts of the ball game.
Gary, I got no problem with what DeDuno did there. You know, particularly when, well, you know what?
I do.
But when you think about a guy hitting a home run, what are they going to do? They're going to stand there and watch it. They're going to admire it. We've seen Barry Bonds in this park do a 360 there. So
don't agree with that either.
I'm right there with you. But hey, we're just going to have to get used to it because it continues.
Well, it will here because, as has been said by more than one, what you're seeing is what a Caribbean World Series looks like. This is what it's like when you play in the Caribbean World Series. All of the emotions are shown, and the players do not hold anything back. We don't see that in Major League Baseball day to day when you're going through the games. For one thing, you couldn't play 162 games and have that kind of emotion coming out. You'd be exhausted by the time you got the game 50. But I would like to see a little more respect for players on the other team than we've seen, especially from the Dominican team. 2-strike count, Moises Sierra. Sierra flying out to center field his first time up. As I said to you before the game, I kind of wish Bob Gibson was pitching for Puerto Rico because there'd be some sore ribs out there. Here's the 0-2 delivery, and that's on the inside corner. He got him. Burgos doing a tremendous job in relief.
Once again, I'm trying to figure out what this guy's doing at the minor league level because he's going through one of the best lineups that you're ever going to see, and he's doing it with ease. command of both sides of the plate. He can spin it. His secondary pitches are tremendous. He can throw the changeup over when he's behind in the count, and he knows how to finish off an at bat.
Mother Nature may give the ball clubs a little break here as the rain is still coming, but it's let up. Slippery ball, and a good effort, but not in time. That's all you can do on that play, but a real good bunt by Diaza. And Gonzalez and Rivera combined to do what they could defensively.
This is something that he did a lot of last year for the Chicago White Sox. I really think it's just the beginning of what could be a terrific run for Diaza. He got called up back in 2011, played just over 50 games, hit just under 330. Last year he hit over 280, only played in 131 games. Had an injury during August, missed some time, but he's an everyday guy.
That'll be a base hit and a good one. Hit number 5 for the Dominican Republic, one away. Reyes has doubled, scored, and flied out. 2-5-0 for the Dominican, 0-2-0 for Puerto Rico, and that is going to be fouled back into the screen.
Jose Reyes really starting to figure the game of baseball out, using all of that ability that he's had to go with the intelligence. In a spot like this, to begin with early in the count, you want to try to get a base hit to right field. If you get a base hit to left field, there's just going to be first and second. But with one out, if you can pull the ball and get a base hit in that direction, you're going to have at least a runner at third base with one out. So much easier to add to that lead.
Reyes with the 0-1, playing in at third. Gonzalez trying to take away the bunt. Diaza back. Diaza got out of an 0 for 13, by the way, on that bunt base hit. He's had overall a really good classic, but he had struggled of late. He ends it by getting on with the bunt. 0-1, 1 down. One of the things Reyes has done is take more pitches. Unlike in the regular season, Reyes has been much more patient. He's averaged 4.3 pitches per plate appearance, well above his average in the majors of 3.8. Throw over back. Last year he averaged only 3.5 with Miami. So he's been willing to take the count a little deeper and wait for his pitch.
I'll tell you, I admire him for so many reasons. One being that with all the problems they had in Miami last year, he just went out there and played every day. Played in over 160 games for a team that obviously didn't go anywhere.
0-1, still in at third, Gonzalez, and a pitch out, and the runner not going.
And they're not going to pitch out to try to help Yadier Molina on a stolen base attempt. That right there, Edwin Rodriguez was feeling like the hit and run was on. And with the hit and run being on, that baseball's not going to get to the catcher where he can do anything about it.
Reyes, 1 ball, 1 strike count. Diaza not going, and a swing and a miss. 1-2. Big deal, of course, Blue Jays. Josh Johnson could be a key in that deal. 12-player deal it ended up being. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Only 1 away. Infield backs up for 2. Just missed. Down and away, and the count will go to 2-2.
Boy, his command has just been tremendous. It's down. We know that the outside corner can go a little bit from side to side. It's not going to be the high strike. You're not going to get the low strike. But home plate will grow a little bit.
And a chopper that's going to go by the mound. They got the runner. That's one. They got to put a tag on. They can't. So we get the second. Diaza held up, and Falou, instead of going to second and just trying to turn a regular 2, wanted to put a tag on, and once he tried that, it was over.
An absolute horrible play. You have got to get the lead runner. You are way too close to second base to make that throw to first. He's seen this play before, and if it's halfway in between the base paths, yeah, you're making the right play. But he was only about 25 to 30 feet from second base. You cannot make that mental mistake that Falou just did there.
And let's see if his teammates pick him up now, because that puts a runner in scoring position with 2 down for Ibar. Ibar sacrificed and singled and got picked off. Ibar's picked up 4 hits in 10 at-bats against Puerto Rico this year in the Classic, and the pitch will be taken for a strike.
Well, Gary, because of the mistake by Falou there, putting a runner in a scoring position, now you've got to shorten up the outfield. You want to give him an opportunity to throw somebody out at home on a base hit. If there was only a runner at first base right now, you do it just the opposite. You play extremely deep, making sure he doesn't hit anything in the gap to drive in a run.
That one is going to end up towards the seats, and it will go there out of play. Ibar keeps his at-bat alive. Ibar, 7 years in the majors, all with the Angels. He's had some speed that he's brought to the ball game. Good number 2 hitter in the lineup, which is where he is here.
Several of the players and coaches saying before the game that Tony Pena has got this team eating out of his hands. There is nothing that they won't do for him. But they were talking about it. It's not really been, and the word they used was dictator. I mean, he's not saying this is the way it's going to be. He told the shortstops, there's 4 of them counting Tejada. You know what he told Gary? Told him, you figure it out.
Yeah, that's right.
I know you all want to play, but you can't. So you guys figure it out. Tell me who's playing short, and I'll let you know from time to time who's going to play third, who the designated hitter will be. But you figure out who the shortstop is.
The players can't get mad at the manager when he does that.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a lot of what goes into managing in this day and age. You know, guys like Earl Weaver and Billy Martin, they would have no chance. They would not survive managing in 2013.
Eric Ibar trying to get another RBI. 2-0. Dotel, you saw Tony turn around, and Dotel was in the dugout. He's now gone back to the bullpen to warm up and go out here to see what they want to throw. It's been a relatively long inning, maybe too long as far as Tony's concerned, to bring Naduno back.
Well, if he does bring him back, he's going to be on one of the shorter leashes. If he gives up any type of a base runner, I would imagine that would be the end of the night. You cannot at this point let him face the tying run, and mainly because the bullpen is so good.
Yep. So the confab at the mound broken up. Ibar waiting on the 0-2 with 2 down and a runner at second base. Diaza. Rodney. Their great closer.
Boy, he is something special, isn't he?
Perfect here in this World Baseball Classic, much as he was last year. 0-2 coming from Burgos. Way up high, pick off. No throw made. Molina faking it back.
You know what? That was all by design. Yadier Molina went to the mound saying, look, here's what I want. I want basically a pitch out. Give me the best possible pitch you can for me to handle. That was not it. That ball was a little bit higher than what Yadier wanted, and when he didn't get a good grip on it as it came out of his glove, he did the right thing by holding on to it.
1-2 delivery on the way. Will miss outside. 2 ball, 2 strike count, our championship game of the World Baseball Classic. And it's turning into a grinder right now. Very light rain, very light, continuing to fall, but not nearly what it was. Checking to see in the bullpen, that was Phil Castro waving down there to Dotel, trying to get his attention.
Yeah, they're wanting to know if he's ready or not.
Yep. 2-2 delivery on the way, and a base hit into right field. Diaza will come around to score, heading into second base. Ibar, and the costly misplay at second base makes it a 3-0 ball game.
You are absolutely right. Burgos has done absolutely nothing wrong in this inning. There was a bunt single. There should be a runner on first right now. And on a hit like that, there's only going to be men on second and third. The Dominican would not have had another run. That is a tremendous piece of hitting. He's seen him a couple of times now. He knows that he's got the good changeup, and just an absolute perfect night up to this point by Eric Ibar. The sacrifice bunt led to a couple of runs. He had a base hit in the 3rd inning, and now the double here in the 5th.
They put 6 hits on the board. 3 of them have been doubles. For Ibar, his second RBI of the Classic, and a swing and a miss by Cano. Cano Intentional walk first inning that backfired when Encarnacion followed with a 2 RBI double himself. Reyes had led the ball game off for the Dominican with a double, and now Ibar gets the 2-bagger and an RBI. And a chance here for Cano, and the pitch will be taken up high, 1-1.
We'll see more of the excitement as we have seen from the very beginning from the team of the Dominican Republic. A lot of excitement, a lot of passion, and most of that because of that name that's on the front of that jersey.
Big hit by Ibar with 2 down to get that run in. All to the benefit of Deduno. Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way, and that will be just foul as he reached and turned that one over. And a 1-ball 2-strike count on Cano. Moises Salou, we were talking about with the Dominican. He's their GM, if you will. He was talking about the love affair with baseball in the Dominican, and he said it's like Europe or South America with soccer. Hopefully we will win tonight and we will be heroes for the rest of our lives. He's right.
That is well said. And he's right about everything there. Baseball is king in the Dominican.
1-ball 2-strike count. Ball's going to be popped up shallow left center, Bermuda Triangle area. Look out. It'll be hauled in. Feliciano coming on from left field to get it, but a big run in on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. The Dominican Republic, after the World Baseball Classic Championship, leads it 3-0. So the Dominican gets a very big run with 2 down in that last half inning, and Deduno is out of the ball game, but a great start for him. Couple of hits, no runs, 5 innings, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts, and he got through that hard rain that was coming down. And Octavio Dotel is on the mound and gets it in there for a strike to Irving Falou.
Well, that's a comment right there that has been said a lot. Octavio Dotel is on the mound. Started his outstanding career. I remember when he was a part of that bullpen for the Houston Astros. Of course, they had Brad Lidge and Dotel setting up Billy Wagner. You talk about the nasty boys. You see once again, as he has done during the postseason, he just rises to the occasion.
Dotel on the world champion St. Louis Cardinal team fouled off. This bullpen now of the Dominican has not given up a run in the last 21 2/3 innings that they have worked. They have been virtually untouchable here in this World Baseball Classic, with Rodney coming on to get the saves. And Ramirez is out of the ball game. Miguel Tejada has come on to play at third base, a veteran. So that thumb may have been bothering Ramirez sufficiently to get him out of there. Ball in the air to center field, hit pretty good. He will be retired, though. Yaza had plenty of room to get it. 1 away.
Gary should not have been a problem.
And Miguel Tejada gets playing time here. Beltran up. Ground ball towards second base, this time going after the first pitch, and his struggles continue. 2 quick outs here in the 6th inning. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic Inc. may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Good news for Miguel Tejada today. I was talking with him before the ball game. He was a non-roster invitee with the Kansas City Royals, a veteran, all-star, former MVP. They're going to give him a job. He's going to be a utility infielder for the Kansas City Royals. That's what they've told him.
I think that's a great move on their part, and you knew that when they made that trade with Tampa for James Shields that they thought they had a chance to win this year.
Miguel Tejada is the captain of this team. Tony Pena was talking about that. I didn't pick the captain, he said. The players decided who was going to be head of this club, and they selected Miguel Tejada. Before the Classic got underway, little has been made of that. Cano, of course, has been just a great leader out there, but says something about how the players feel about Tejada.
I tell you what, that's a dugout that's full of great leaders, right along with Tony Pena. You know, Moises Alou. Most general managers are up in their own private box and they're making moves and whatever. Not him. I mean, he's down there in that dugout in case somebody needs his opinion on something.
Yadier Molina, the 0-2 delivery to him. That'll be down to third and foul. Molina has hit into a double play and struck out in the ball game.
Gary, you talked about Dotel back in 11, a part of the World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals. He won a couple of games in that postseason for Tony La Russa's team. And then, of course, last year thought he was going to be a World Series champion again. He pitched in the Division Series, League Championship, and World Series for Detroit. He did not give up a run in any of those appearances, but, of course, the Tigers came up a little short.
3.57 ERA for the Tigers in 57 games. He'll get the comebacker, and boy, Dotel has a really easy inning. He sets the side down 1-2-3. The bullpen for the Dominican is at work, trying to protect a 3-0 lead in this World Baseball Classic championship game. Well, here's how they got the lead in this game.
Well, it started right out. Extra base hit, driving in the first couple of runs, giving them a lead that stands right now.
Another run came in the 5th inning on an Ibar double with 2 away. Encarnacion at the plate with that double, and he has struck out. 3-6-0 for the Dominican, 0-2-0 for Puerto Rico. That'll go to short. Aviles gets in front of it. Toss in the dirt, scooped up by Rivera. 1 away. Well, there's the line. With Deduno, a fine start. No runs, 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Encarnacion, the big 2 RBI double, and Eric Ibar with that single double and an RBI in the game.
I'll tell you what, the guy to me, though, that has pitched even better than Deduno is on the mound right now. That run that he was charged with in the top of the 5th inning, he shouldn't have been. The mental mistake on the part of Falou. And Ron Renicky, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, we might be sending you a special gift tomorrow in this 25-year-old right-hander.
Burgos came on in the 2nd inning of the ball game. He faces Miguel Tejada, first at bat for Tejada in the ball game. 0-1 delivery to him. That'll be taken outside for a ball. Tejada swung the bat hard here in the Classic. Done a good job, as picked up 7 total bases, 6 hits, 17 at bats. Tejada, 1 ball, 1 strike count. And that pitch is going to be away from him. 2 balls and 1 strike on Tejada.
Burgos, as you mentioned, Gary, pitched at 3 different levels a year ago. Combined to have an ERA under 2. Had 1 relief appearance, so to stretch him out over 60 pitches is really no big deal.
2-1 count. And Tejada on the off-speed delivery. Tejada played winter ball in order to get himself ready to take a shot at getting back into baseball after a year out, and it has paid off. He said, my performance here in the World Baseball Classic, having a chance for the Royals to be able to see me in game conditions, he thinks made the difference in the opportunity to be a utility bench player for them for the coming year. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Tejada will foul that one back. It'll stay at 2-2.
You know, I don't think he's the power source that he once was. I mean, he can still yank a ball down the line out of any ballpark, but I think the versatility is the exciting part about him for Ned Yost's team. He still looks like he moves well. He's made some nice defensive plays at third. He's always played short. He could play second base if needed.
2 ball, 2 strike count. And that ball is going to be popped up in the air. Second base, or shallow right field. And it'll be hauled in by Rios, and there are 2 down. 2 away, 6th inning, championship game. Bullpen active. De La Torre has seen a lot of action, so has Xavier Cedeno. They're both ready if needed. Burgos with a chance, though, to get through the 6th inning. I just bought that outfit today to take home.
A couple days late. Isn't that a St. Patty's Day get up? Maybe still going since St. Patty's Day.
If you water it, it will grow. 2 down. Here's Nelson Cruz. And the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Cruz has struck out and popped out. Light rain continuing to fall here, but has allowed the game to go on. Dominican Republic trying to go 8-0. Go undefeated here in this classic. That's at the knees for a strike. 0-2.
Couple of big hits. Just an outstanding tournament for Nelson Cruz, who's played terrific defense. You think about the double that he had in the game and the comeback against Italy, and then the hit that he had turning a single into a double off of Craig Kimbrell, something very few people can do.
That one he got jammed on, still able to drive it to center field deep. That ball back. It's going to take one hop off the base of the wall. Pagan going back to get it. It'll be a stand-up double for Cruz.
I would think right now that Edwin Rodriguez would be a little bit concerned about letting Burgos go any further. This is an 0-2 pitch. Very seldom do you see anybody hit a ball with authority when they're behind an account like that. They kind of become defensive. But this is a pitch that's elevated. It's right out over the heart of the plate and almost got out of here.
That ball really carried. So the visit to the mound. Like Ricky Bonas, the pitching coach. See whether or not Burgos feels as though he can continue on and try and complete the inning and find the out. The bullpen, as we said, is ready. They've just been staying warm down there.
You think about possibly turning the switch hitting Santana around. I really think you're better off trying to get him out when he's hitting left-handed. He's got more power from the left side, but he's always hit for a higher average from the right side.
He hit .243 left-handed last year, .272 right-handed. So he'll come on now with a runner at second base, RBI chance. Santana 0 for 2 in the ball game. Does have 3 RBIs. Burgos will try and finish it up. 7 hits for the Dominican. They lead at 3-0 in the bottom half of the 6th inning. And the pitch away for a ball.
I got to tell you, Gary, that's one thing that I always hated as a pitcher, is when a pitching coach comes out there and tells you, hey, you got a base open, be careful with this guy. What do you mean be careful? I mean, are you basically telling me to put him on? Because I know if I put him on, you're going to come get me and bring a reliever in to face the other guy, and a couple of my runs being on base. I absolutely dislike that.
It's like telling you that all those other guys you weren't being careful with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to give up a hit to anybody. I think they're afraid to put the intentional pass on right now because it backfired in the first inning. But that is the thing to do.
2-0 delivery. They're not pitching to him, obviously, and the count goes to 3-0. They were leaving him in to issue a walk to Santana, and then they're going to go to the bullpen. As waiting on deck, Moises Sierra. 3-0. And he gets a strike on the outside corner.
And that was an off-speed pitch. He's not going to give in. Santana geared up for that fastball. I mean, he struck Santana out swinging the last time out. If you just leave him alone, I think he gets out of it. Now you put him behind in the count. He knows if he walks him, he's out of the game.
And he does. First walk he has surrendered. 9th free pass that Santana has picked up, continuing what he did last year when he improved his on-base percentage by drawing all those walks. So that will be it. Burgos will be coming out. Did a tremendous job in relief. From the 2nd inning on, he'll be responsible for the 2 base runners on, the Dominican on top. Last night, Moises Sierra got a chance to start the game, and right away had an impact in the 1st inning, going into the seats, pulling a ball that was hit by Andrew Jones. That would end the inning, and then he'd come back at the plate, and Sierra would deliver. He was a RBI double that came in the 5th inning. He was a late starter inserted in the lineup after batting practice.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Tony Pena was thinking about starting him to begin with. He decided against that. And then after batting practice, when Anita was not feeling 100%, he made the change and ended up probably making the difference and then winning that ball game.
Now Sierra gets the start here. He is 0 for 2. Runners on at first and second base on the walk picked up by Santana.
Burgos did absolutely nothing wrong. And yet with a mistake here on a pitch from De La Torre, he might be charged with 3 earned runs.
Jose De La Torre on the mound. Burgos went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. And the pitch will miss inside for a ball. He has been busy here in the Classic.
He has, and the thing everybody knows is that he throws a lot of breaking balls. He's got a big curveball. He's got the hard slider, usually pretty good command of that. But you know, the more and more you see a guy, the better idea you have as to what to look for. If I'm Sierra, I'm looking for a mistake with that breaking ball.
1-0 delivery. That will be fouled off of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
That was that breaking ball, but it wasn't a mistake. It was perfectly placed on the outside corner. You look at where the glove of Molina was set up, and that's where the baseball would have ended.
De La Torre pitched in 3 different organizations last year. 1 at AA, 2 at AAA. Ended up 9-1 with a 2.80 earned run average. Good numbers. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 on. It's a big at bat. Puerto Rico just cannot afford to have any more runs pushed across. The Dominican knows that. Chance to extend the lead here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
I know Puerto Rico doesn't feel this way, but that 3-0 lead by the Dominican Republic, because of their bullpen, I mean, it seems like 8-0 to me.
It will take an offense that nobody's found yet in this Baseball World Classic to come back in this game against this bullpen. 1-2. Runners off first and second. De La Torre's pitch will be fouled away again.
Gary, I don't think in the history of baseball there's ever been a better bullpen. There's never been one with the depth or the velocity that Tony Pena has. The only guy not available is Herrera, who threw a couple of innings last night and went over the 30 pitch mark. But Barris is down there. Strope was his 3-0 record. Of course, Casilla didn't pitch last night. And Rodney will be available again.
There's that plantain that Fernando Rodney had the other night. That is a plantain that he ordered up from his hometown in the Dominican Republic and had it shipped here. He said, "It is my lucky charm for the game." Talking about the last game, I kept it for the whole game, celebrating his 36th birthday. And he says, "I'm going to keep it with me for this game too." And he has. He's got it with him. Shipped here on Monday from Santo Domingo.
I think it should go into the Hall of Fame if they win this thing.
I think they should fry it up afterwards and eat it. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Sierra. Rice and beans and platanos can't beat him. Tag put on. That's a strike. That'll retire the side. De La Torre comes on and gets it done.
I don't know if I'd want to eat that thing. There's no telling where all it's been throughout this tournament. There you go. Yeah. Send it.
A souvenir there, but he got it. 2 are left on, and the Dominican Republic maintains the lead. 7th inning stretch time in our championship game. Will there be another arrow out of that quiver? Well, you talk about domination in the part of the game that always matters most. The champions.
It doesn't always happen that way, where the best team wins. But it did in this tournament. From the very beginning, the closest thing to a complete team was the Dominican Republic. The offense was there. they scored a ton of runs. The defense was there. They did not allow an unearned run. The timely hitting, the power, the speed, and the experience. Tony Pena was absolutely perfect in how he handled the lineup, particularly that second spot in the order, and what he did with the bullpen.
Tough one for Yadier Molina, who led this team for Puerto Rico. He's bringing them all out on the field to congratulate the Dominican Republic, taking a page out of the National Hockey League book right here. After you battled, you come out and give credit to the opponent.
I have goosebumps all over my body. What a tremendous gesture on the part of Yadier Molina. He led them to this opportunity to be champions, and he's proven once again that even though in defeat, he's a champion.
There are the two managers, Edwin Rodriguez and Tony Pena. They are very good friends, sharing a hug after the ball game. And the Dominican Republic has gotten done what they came to do. And credit to Moises Salou and those who helped put this club together. A balanced team. Fewer long, hard swings, more contact hitters. A great bullpen. It was all planned. It wasn't an accident that this ball club came together the way they are. And they really dominated play in virtually every game they played in.
Gary, I know you feel the same way I do. This World Baseball Classic has been even more than we hoped for.
I think you get two natural rivals like this coming against one another. You really add to it. I mean, people got a chance to see the Caribbean flavor of baseball, what it's like in the Winter League and the Caribbean World Series. The passion of the fans, not just the players, but the fans that we've seen that have really been an important part of this World Baseball Classic. Here's the final out.
More arrow in that quiver that I'm going to send off. And there he is. I mean, that smile that we have seen from the very first day that he got to the big leagues. And why wouldn't you smile if you're Robinson Cano?
Reyes said he's never had more fun playing baseball than he's had in this Classic. Ran right into the middle of the pile. 3-8-1 for the Dominican Republic. And for Puerto Rico, shutout. 0-3-0. Deduno, tremendous start. Alvarado did not get a good start, and Rodney will get the save, and the whole team will get the plantain.
There are a lot of people, there are a lot of Hall of Famers that never got the opportunity to say that they were a champion. There's 28 guys out there right now that will always be able to say that at one time they were the best in the world.
And I think Moises Salou was right when he said, if you understand the passion of the game in the Dominican, the players on this team will be heroes forever. I think in the U.S. it's kind of liking it to that great hockey championship that a U.S. team had, and forever their names became famous in sports history, and these players for the Dominican, it'll be the same. Now the post-game ceremonies will be taking place. There'll be an MVP of the entire Classic and the awarding of the trophy. Fans staying through the rain to be part of the celebration of the Dominican Republic here at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Just moments ago, they unfurled the flag and took it out to center for a spin.
I just can't help but think, as I look at that, how a team could come from 4 years ago. You could not get any lower than the Dominican Republic team was. They were embarrassed. The people in the Dominican Republic were so upset that they would let a team like the Netherlands beat them twice and eliminate them in the first round. As low as they were then, it's impossible for them to get any higher than they are right now.
Here's Robinson Cano. Even though he had an 0 for 3 in the ball game tonight, he ended up with a .469 batting average for the entire Classic. That is a record. The highest batting average in WBC history was by Frederic Cepeda for Cuba, who hit .449. And a .469 has been put up by Robinson Cano in this Classic.
Well, and of course, even before tonight, he had the all-time record for most hits at 15. He had the record for most total bases. And to me, this changes a lot of things for Robinson Cano. He's been called an all-star before. He's been called an MVP. He's been called and is the best second baseman in the world. To me, this takes him to being a living legend as far as the Dominican Republic is concerned.
There you see the 15 hits, 25 total bases, both records. 6 extra base hit, third most overall. Jose Lopez and Jorge Cantu of Mexico, 8 and 7 respectively. And now the new batting average number for him. Both teams still out there on the field. First base side, Puerto Rico is lined up. The Dominicans on the third base side. Pagan going over to offer his congratulations. Moise Salou. And the runner-up, congratulations to the team from Puerto Rico being recognized as they go up on the stand. Like the Olympics, medals are being awarded.
I really think, Gary, that's the biggest surprise, is what's going on with Puerto Rico right now. There was a lot of people that didn't think they'd get out of the first round. There were a lot of people that didn't think they would get out of Miami. Most people thought that they would lose to Japan in the first game here in San Francisco.
Closest to you there, putting the medal on, Ricardo Ficari, who is the president of the International Baseball Federation. Tony Bernard is in the middle. I think that's Frank Robinson, isn't it, over there on the right side?
I think that's Tony Clark right there in the middle.
Oh, Tony Clark's in the middle. I'm sorry. And then trying to see Frank. I didn't know he was here, but standing off to the right with the baseball cap on.
Sure is.
Sure is.
How about that? Just another thrill. Just to be able to shake the hand of Frank Robinson.
Frank here representing Major League Baseball, along with Tony Clark and then the International Baseball Federation.
Gary, you make a great point about how hockey has always done this at the end of a playoff series. Everybody acknowledging what each team and player had accomplished. I hope Major League Baseball learned something from this. When Yadier Molina came out there, I got more goosebumps watching that than anything else I have ever seen in a World Series, an All-Star game, or a World Baseball Classic. What a tremendous gesture and example that was. I mean, this is all about getting more kids to play baseball. That's the way you want to play it.
Yeah, I agree. And sets a great sportsmanship character to the game. You got the primary parties who make this World Baseball Classic possible, awarding the medals. That's the International Baseball Federation, the Major League Baseball Players Association. Tony Clark represents, and then Frank Robinson representing Major League Baseball. Frank going, move over, move on. Now the Dominican Republic
Los campeones de este Clásico Mundial de Béisbol del 2013.
You know, when you think back on everything that the Dominican Republic has done to get to where they're at, it truly was a 28-man team effort. From the very beginning, when Moises Alou got them together, he spoke. Tony Pena said what he had to say. And that's when Robinson Cano says, there's something I want to say. Several other players got up there and explained what it meant to them to be there. And then Tony Pena went around to each one of the guys and said, why are you here? What is the reason that you're here? What do you expect to accomplish? Why did you decide to be a part of this team? And to a man, they've talked about how emotional it was. And they truly did. They came together and they got contributions from everybody. I mean, the bullpen, we know that it was the strength, it was the roots of the team, as Tony Pena talked about. The starting rotation, they got just enough. But from top to bottom, the balance that they had in that lineup and the bench that they had to contribute, it was all there.
A very well put together team, and they performed as expected, which, as we said, doesn't necessarily happen. Final time together for the team from Puerto Rico, teammates for the World Baseball Classic, and now they will move on, many of them to play against one another in this upcoming Major League and Minor League season.
You know, Gary, the game of baseball is a lot like a heavyweight boxing match. You're going to get hit, and you're going to fall to the mat. And it's just a matter, do you have the ability and the pride to get back up? And I remember on the 12th of March when Puerto Rico got devastated by USA. They lost 7-1. They lost at every phase of the game. They got hit. They were down. The referee was going through the 10 count, but he never got there. They got back up. They won 3 straight elimination games. They beat Italy by 1 run. They beat the USA by 1 run. They beat the 2-time defending champion Japan by 2 runs. They got back up, and they have a lot to be proud of.
Yadier Molina, their leader, saying goodbye to all the fans on that side of the field, cheering for Puerto Rico in this game. And I think the final gold medals being awarded. Robinson Cano, coaches, manager, getting theirs. And there's the trophy.
And I think we just saw the picture that we will see all around the world tomorrow. Robinson Cano holding up that gold medal.
Tony Pena is going to receive the trophy.
De campeón del Clásico Mundial de Béisbol al manager de República Dominicana, Tony Peña.
That right there makes me think of the Stanley Cup.
Guys, clear out. Clear out. If I ask you one more time, you don't.
Right now.
And Robinson Cano is the MVP of this 2013 World Baseball Classic. So he won the MVP award in both of the first two pools, and then the MVP award overall for the entire Classic for this championship team.
There's not a bigger trifecta in all of baseball.
Holding that trophy up, championship trophy, some of his moments.
Well, there's so many to choose from. It seemed like every night he was doing something that had never been done before. The last 4 or 5 games that he's played, he's continued to set all-time records. You're going to see a lot of the things that he does offensively here in the highlights, but he was every bit as dominating on the defensive end of it. And I really thought the key moment tonight in the ball game early, when Deduno was struggling, having problems with the mound, it was Cano that came to the mound and said, wait a minute, let's get this fixed and get back on track. And they did.
The confetti being dispersed and the players for the Dominican staying out on the field to celebrate. So the World Baseball Classic 2013 over. We will wait another 4 years. Much to be learned by all of the teams, and certainly the MVP. Trophy in one hand for the MVP and the plantain in the other.
You know what, Gary, I agree with what the players have said. It has been an honor to be a part of this. It was good back in 06 when we had the opportunity to do it. It got better in 09. It was absolutely terrific this year in 2013, and we too applaud the team from the Dominican Republic for what they've done.
And a special thanks and applause to the fans. I think they have really contributed in all of the venues to make this 2013 World Baseball Classic as successful as it has been.
And not only the fans that came to the ballpark, but how about the all-time records that were set from the viewing audiences? Unbelievable the attention that this World Baseball Classic was able to create, and you just know that 4 years from now, it's going to be even better.
All right, that's going to do it from San Francisco. For Rick Sutcliffe and all of the crew, we want you to enjoy some of the moments from all of the games that were played in this World Baseball Classic. And in 4 years, we hope we'll all be around to do it again. Till then, I'm Gary Thorne from San Francisco. Adieu.